Okay, we're live. I'm practicing doing a live stream again. I know I need to get on StreamYard. Maybe we'll try that next time. I thought I'd do a little motivational Monday. I'm going to try to do these things live when I have a chance at some point on a Monday in between my consultation appointments. In the comments, in the or in the chat, whichever. Probably in the comments though. Let me know what time you think is a good time to do these live streams. So I've just reached 7,000 subscribers, which is nice. That's all organic, meaning I'm not monetized. I'm mostly blacklisted on YouTube because I say controversial things like men and women are different, stuff like that, really controversial, so people don't always get new searches don't always show up with my videos like they should. So you guys sharing these things and liking them and subscribing, mainly sharing them with others, that's how I've gotten to 7,000. It's not from me hitting YouTube algorithms. Very few of my videos have actually hit the algorithms in any substantial way. Really, one video did, is more or less by accident. There is a lot of shadow banning that goes on. There's censorship, and it's a censorship of ideas, not necessarily being censored for standards and practices. It's a censorship of ideas. My ideas conflict with mainstream ideas of what is going on in the sexual marketplace, mainstream ideas being promoted by feminism and very, more or less leftist socialist ideas, even though I'm not a political channel or anything like that. It's my ideas are controversial. My ideas, although the things that I tell you guys are what's going to help you be happy with women in your lives. And if women listen, they'll have a better understanding so they can be happy in their relationships, whether they're casual or something more. But that's not going with what the mainstream wants. And so I get censored. So anyway, enough on that. That requires you guys to help me out and share and all that stuff. But today we're not going to talk too much about sexual marketplace. We'll talk about a little bit about mindset and goal setting, a little motivational Monday, New Year's resolutions, right? That's the thing that people do. Most people don't meet their New Year's resolutions. Why is that? They have an idea. It's really more of a dream or a vision of something they want. Oh, I want to get in better shape, or I want to have more money. I want to have more girls, whatever it is. And they, have these lofty ideas with no actual plan on how to execute. Or they start after that first of the year, after getting over their hangovers from a New Year's party, and they, I'm going to go hit this goal full running, right? And then they do okay for a couple of weeks, and then it fizzles out. That's what happens to most people's New Year's resolutions. So I'm going to give you a little advice so that doesn't happen to you. Our brains are not designed for long-term goals or planning. Not really. Our brains are designed for survival, okay? Our reward centers in our brains, okay, which is dopamine and our neurochemicals that give us rewards when we go after something and accomplish things, are designed to give us short-term gratification. This is why casinos keep people pulling on the arm on a slot machine. This is why your notification bells on your phone keeps you looking at your device, and so on and so forth. You're getting short-term little dopamine hits for these time-wasting activities, we'll call it. And that's what your brain's designed for. So your brain is designed to get your needs met immediately. It's not necessarily designed to get you a long-term goal. So we have to use our frontal lobe, our human brain, to more or less design an action plan that'll work with our reward centers of our brain to help us achieve stuff, right? So use the gym example. Like if I have a program and a plan, okay, and I make myself do a certain amount of workouts each times per week, and I follow a diet plan, but it's I break it down into smaller digestible chunks, and each time I achieve that workout, hopefully I'm getting a good dopamine hit where I feel good about achieving that, which then rewards me for wanting to do it next time. But by having a program or some sort of action plan and making myself do stuff when I don't necessarily want to at that time, that's what gives me those long-term results, right? It's consistent activity over time. So let's I got a lot of people in the comments. That's pretty cool. And thanks guys for all the good comments. All right, glad you guys enjoy it. So let's talk about how to break down a vision, because you say I got a New Year's resolution, or I want to make more money in 6 months, or I want to have more and better dates, by the summertime, or I want to have whatever your goal is. That's something we need to break down into smaller chunks, or else it's not something we're going to achieve. So what I recommend is that you take your vision of what you want and break it up into a 90-day plan. So what's going to get you closer to that vision in 90 days? You have a fitness goal, or cool, you want to get more jacked. All right, sweet. What's going to get you closer to looking better, okay, and feeling better in 90 days? All right, instead of looking at bigger goals. And this is especially important in entrepreneurship. What's going to get you closer to your business goals in 90 days action-wise? And then we do what's called a backwards plan. That's something that is a military tactic, but it can be used in life as well, which is we work backwards from that vision or that goal. So 90-day plan is a lot more digestible and a lot more real and easier to chunk out than, my 5-year plan, for example. Those things are usually BS because life changes too often and you get shifted in different direction for you to really meet a 5-year plan. Your 5-year plan looks different than it should look different, really, as you progress along each year, right? Even a year plan is a little bit much. So you break down that vision. Here's what I want my life to look like, okay, ultimately, and you break it down into 90-day chunks. And from there, you break those 90-day chunks down to your next 30 days. And then from your next 30 days, you break it down to each week. So you got, what's your week's goal before you reach closer to that 30-day mark, right? And then after you have, so now you're starting off your week with an idea of what you want to get done that week, what you want accomplished that week that'll get you closer to your vision, which, and your 90-day goal, okay? And so from that week, you break it down on a day-to-day basis, what things you need to get done. And what I recommend is that you don't focus on a to-do list of things, because the to-do list of things will lead to you doing a lot of when the bigger, harder, more impacting activity tends to not get done. So what I actually recommend is for each day you have one thing that is really impacting, that if you get that done today, if you do that thing today, then that's going to get you much closer to your actual goal than any of the other things. All right. And so it's that one thing that you want to hit, and that's what you do every day. You get that one thing done, then that's a win. If, let's say, I use fitness because it's such a digestible example, but if fitness is your goal, okay, I'll get to some of these questions in the chat here in a second because I got a few people on now. Looks like a couple of chicks on here. Good to see you ladies. All right. So let's say I'm all right. I struggle with working out. Well, then if I go to the workout in the morning before my day starts, let's say that's my goal. If I do that, then I've won for today. Okay, that's getting me to my thing. So then that's easy, right? If I hit the gym today, I do what's on my program, and I do it in the morning, so I get it out of the way. Awesome. Okay, I just met my goal for today. Today's a win. Doesn't mean I don't do anything for the rest of the day, obviously, but I want to really have identified what that one thing is. Maybe you're trying to build a business, you need more clients, you got to make some calls or whatever on some leads. You need to make 30 sales calls each day in order to achieve your goal, for example. So you do that, those 30 calls, that's your win. I recommend you do that thing when you're the most fresh. For most people, that's in the morning, because your dopamine reserves actually get less and less as you progress throughout the day, meaning the discipline to want to do stuff gets less as the day goes on. But that can depend too, whether you're a morning person, afternoon person, evening person, right? So you don't necessarily have to be bound by any particular schedule or format. But what you need to be able to do is figure out that time that works best for you, where you're most likely going to have the most amount of motivation to do things that you don't want to do. Okay. And then you hit it. All right. You hit it hard. You get that goal, that one thing done, and then you win. So that's your little motivational tips. Okay. This is how you get shit done, and you get shit done and accomplish your goals, achieve what you want. Those New Year's resolutions now can become actual reality, not just some bullshit you thought about or whatever, and don't actually do it after the first week or two of trying it. So let's see, what do we got? Your info is priceless. I shared some of your ideas amongst, looks like a young lady had sent this. I shared some of your ideas among friends, and I almost got killed. Joking, they didn't like it. The truth is always hard to hear. Yeah, I know it is hard to hear, and unfortunately, women often feel attacked when I'm speaking about a general idea of female nature. It's just a general idea. Listen, what a woman's primal brain is just as savage as a man's primal brain. They're just in different ways. We're savages. We're animals. We're animals. We want to bang, and we want to kill, and we want to eat, and we want to survive. Right? That's what we do as the animal parts. Now we're also human beings too, right? And so we have a capacity for a lot more than that. But if we don't understand our savage nature and can't handle it, like if a man can't handle a woman's sexual desires and her savage nature, how's he going to seduce her? How is he going to provide an opportunity for happiness and well-being in any kind of relationship, be it casual or anything else? He can't, right? If he's too busy crying about, the fact that women like guys who are genetically hot or whatever, then that's not going to work, right? And so the deceptiveness of, there's a deceptiveness involved in female sexual strategy. Well, women need to understand that more so than men. They need to accept that that's actually part of your DNA, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is if you execute it in a way that is immoral, or a way that is not presenting a good value system, and you harm people with your nature. It's my nature as a man to be violent to get what I want, to use intimidation, coercion, and violence. All right, bigger, stronger men win, right? And that's how we're wired. But that doesn't mean I go beat people up to get what I want, right? Or go force girls physically to do things, or use fear and intimidation in my relationships, right? You don't do that shit, right? But I have to understand that's part of my primal nature. Frustrations or anger, that kind of response might be a default mechanism for me. And so I got to figure out a better way of coping with that in a way that's more productive. That's going to get me long-term success. Same with women. There's a certain nature that females have, and women need to understand that and execute something that's going to serve them well and serve their partners well. And guys need to understand those things too, so that they can navigate that. Anyway, so it's not to a lot of things I say women don't like, but they're getting a narrative crammed down their throats that's unfortunately very false from feminism. The system is set up to suppress raw masculinity. Well, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like a big, gigantic shit test, isn't it? Like a big societal shit test. It's like society is promoting for men to be little bitches, little betas, and guys go, well, if I'm going to go get laid, I'm going to go be a little bitch, and then they start acting like bitches, and then they get stomped on, walked all over, put in the beta male slavery husband category, while their women achieve their milestones and then divorce them, take half their shit, move on to somebody who's a little bit more alpha. How you pass the shit test is you don't play that. You don't play that shit. You don't act like a bitch to try to get a woman, right? You act like a man. And guess what? The interesting things happen when you do that. Women like you better. All right. Acting like a man and acting like not a bitch doesn't mean not being a good partner to a woman. And in fact, I'd say it's the opposite. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry's the man, by the way, if you guys didn't know. I believe your advice will lead to better connections with men and women. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm not here just to I want you guys to have good relationships with women. Just because I talk shit about women, that doesn't mean I'm not talking shit just to talk shit. I'm trying to promote the truth about the sexual marketplace so that we can navigate it. We got more political things. You should make a program on being her apex. I'm working, man. Okay. So you guys know that I need to have some courses probably like soon, right? Before, people kick my door down and say, teach me all the stuff. Damn it. I need to do some courses. I know that. And I have, because courses are going to get really in depth on some of the things you guys need. So I did a Rule Zero presentation on harems, all right, how to run multiple women. And that's, of course, for my female listeners who don't know that I know how to do that. And in fact, to do that, it's not in a deceiving, terrible way. The women in a relationship where a guy has multiple girls, oftentimes in the bedroom at the same time, they're very happy with that arrangement. We're not talking about a situation where a guy is using lying or manipulation or narcissistic tactics to manipulate women into some sort of weird harem situation. That was not what my presentation was about. But there's a lot of women who enjoy other women. Most, in fact, you'd be surprised at how high the percentages of women who enjoy other women, but would rather have a man that is her apex alpha. And so for those women, there are situations where a guy can have a woman and other women too in that relationship or in the bedroom. So that's what harems are about. But there's a lot of, and it goes back to polyamorous past, okay? I do have an AR course that's going to come up, Ian, from Live Safe Academy. Hey, if you guys need any self-defense tips, training, anything like that, go to Live Safe Academy. He has a YouTube channel. He has mostly had a local and a Midwestern presence. He's one of the best instructors, though, when it comes to anything self-defense. So his YouTube channel is cool, but it's very low in the subscribing. He doesn't have a ton of subscribers right now. So if you guys go over there, hit the subscribe button for him, support him, because he's a good dude. And if you're interested in knowing how to fight and, kick ass and defend yourself and all that, he's got the real deal tips on that, not some, Hollywood version, but the actual stuff that works. But anyways, back to courses. So yeah, so I did a presentation on harems. I was going to do a course on that, but that seems a bit narrow because not every guy necessarily wants that. So I think I'm broadening it out to doing maybe a course on frame. A lot of you guys watched my frame series, and so you guys like that stuff. And, frame is where it's at, dude. That frame is the answer to your problems right now. Okay. If you're not realizing that, frame is the thing that you need if you are going to have, how can we best beat procrastination? That's a good one. Hey, man, you know what? I'm going to write that down. Let's see if I remember it. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, bro. I'm sorry. No, as I try to pronounce it. Facundo? It's a cool name, if that's how it's said. Procrastination. Guess what? I'll do one. My next Monday, we'll talk about it when I get live. Okay. So procrastination. I'll write that down in my little trusty old-fashioned notebook, and that'll be a topic for next week because that's a good one. Anyway, back to courses. Frame, dude. Frame is it. Like, how do you overcome the global sexual marketplace where a woman has nothing but access to sexual options out there, a high SMV, hot girl with a lot of things going for her, has nothing but options when she looks out. When she logs on to Facebook or Instagram, she sees everybody's best life. Of course, we know it's all BS, Facebook, Instagram presentations, but that's what they see. And how are they not going to want to drift off and leave your relationship when you go through a couple hard months or you go through life's normal struggles, right? How is she going to be able to pair bond or be happy with you when she's been following the go get some dick girl philosophy of her early 20s and hoe years? And now she's wanting to settle down, but I mean, she's had so many experiences. How is it that you're going to be enough? How is it she's going to actually be happy, settled down, right? The answer is frame, guys. That is the answer. Frame is so critical, man, and you have to take it to an expert level. Frame involves seduction, how to seduce your chick, okay? Frame involves leadership in that relationship. Frame involves taking the relationship where it needs to go and her being happy to be on board with that. That's what frame is. And so that's probably what my course is going to be on. I have outlines for all this stuff. It's a matter of creating the videos, creating the syllabus, and creating the format so you guys get the best instruction possible. If you hadn't noticed, I don't put out information and bullshit. You know, I put out stuff that I put a lot of work in. Even these videos that I do, there's some research that goes into that. People don't always care to know what studies or where I pull things from. So I'm not real good at citing sources. Maybe I'll get better at that in the future. But you know what? That's the thing, though. You know, a lot of work goes into it. I'm not going to put together a product or put out a product and have it suck and have you guys waste your money. You know, that's just not what I'm going to do. So if it takes me a little longer to get something out, but it's high quality, good stuff that's going to change your life for the better, man, that's what the point is. So stay tuned, man. I know we need that. What about naked yoga? Yeah, exactly. I put out I've been getting nailed for my thumbnails lately. I put out an ambiguously sexual thumbnail and I'm getting it removed. I'm getting warnings. You can type naked yoga after I get off this stream here live. When you're done, just go ahead and type naked yoga in your search bar, and you're going to see a bunch of naked chicks doing yoga, full nude naked, just doing their yoga. Their thumbnails are full frontal thumbnails. Like, I'm not even kidding. They sometimes get banned or flagged, but they often just don't. And here I am with something very ambiguous, but I'm not doing naked yoga apparently. And I don't have some weird, if I was talking about transgender sexual experiences or something, that could be all over the internet and nobody would want to censor that. But I say something very simple like, yeah, good faith relationship advice, ? Banned. Yeah, exactly. I say things that are going to help you be successful in relationships, but not all those things follow a feminist ideology or follow I hate to say it, leftist agenda. And I'm not trying to make it political, but I don't know what else to do, man. They're making it political. You know what I mean? Hey, if you're like a Democrat, you watch my stuff or whatever. If you're left leaning, cool, watch my stuff. I'm not political about this, but unfortunately, it seems like the censors are. So yeah, but go ahead. You can use naked yoga for your part. Next time you have some people over, throw it on your big screen in the background because YouTube will let you. But throw on my video. My video might be shadow banned. Who knows what's going to happen after this live stream? They might shadow ban it. We'll see. Let's see. What's your content about so I know what to bring up or ask in the future? Oh, well, that's a good question. Well, go through, some of my old videos and you'll see, but most of it is about the sexual marketplace. So if you're not familiar with that term, The sexual marketplace is just where all of the mating happens. Okay, that's anything from a marriage down to casual dating to pickup, hookups, whatever. All right, so where people, generally males and females, I know there's the same sex thing going on. I have actually gotten really good insight from my gay friends that I know on different aspects of the sexual marketplace. Very interesting insight. So I'm not like an anti-gay person or anything, but my advice is for generally heterosexual mating. Okay, and so we're talking about relationships, dating, pickup, all that stuff. Now, the mindset aspect of it is because I'm also helping men become, we'll say, better, more alpha males. I don't know how else to say it without using a different term. And that involves having mental fitness, mental resiliency, and changing your mental framework. There's even exercises and practices you can do, just like our warrior classes did in the past, such as meditative practices. I do use hypnotherapy, EMDR, and some of those things for some of my clients in our sessions to help change that state of mind and that mental framework. That I realized how important that was, and military and soldiering, and looking at the level of PTSD and stuff that we have now. And I thought to myself, man, how come the Vikings could like close combat hatchet each other to death and then still go home to, you know, their towns and families or whatever? Like what is going on there? How come the samurai, the crusaders, like all of these different cultures and classes, not to say that they didn't have psychological consequences for combat, but one thing I noticed, the trend I noticed, is that they all had a practice. Now, most of that revolved around religion, but doesn't necessarily have to. They had a mental practice that they would go through that helped them keep their emotional self-control and their mental framework. And that helped them handle things like PTSD. So my journey to figure the PTSD thing out brought me into understanding that these mental practices are really important, not just for someone in a warrior class, but all men. And so that's where the mindset part comes in. That's why we're doing a Mindset Monday, talking about being goal focused. It's not all about, you know, getting bitches or whatever, you know what I mean? Or having good relationships or whatever you want to call it, right? It's about living a good life and having a good mental state. Fact of the matter is, if your mental state's not right and it's not optimal, you're not going to be able to have a good relationship because you're not going to have the mental framework for it. Women want a dominant alpha male leader in their relationships. In order to show up as that, there's things you have to do on a regular basis to get your mind right. And so these are mostly things I do in consultations with guys who are having issues. Part 2 of oh my god, I got to send out a part 2 of my email, bro. I know. It's been months. We'll get to it. Yeah, get on my email list. And not that I'm sending shit out. I haven't sent anything out actually in months, but that'll tell you you're not going to get spammed. Okay. Again, I don't even have my channel monetized, so spamming you is not of interest to me either. I'm interested in serious supporters who like the content, who want more of it, not just putting out clickbait and putting out crap in order to spam people. So get on my email list. I'll put that link in the description. I have to change that description when the video is over with, so give it like a couple hours. But my past videos has a link where you can get on my email list. Yes, I realize I had a part 1 on basically getting your chick to want to bang you again. That's what it is. It's designed for people in long-term relationships or marriages, particularly where the sex kind of goes away. So it's telling you how to re-seduce your partner and to make that happen. And so part 1's out. Got the 3 pillars in part 1. There's a number of steps in part 2. I apologize for not having that content out earlier. It's something I'll work on this month. All right. What else we got? I'm just glancing. So if I miss your comment, dudes, I'm so, you know, it's forgive me. When did your opinions on relationship dynamics start becoming strong and predictive? Were you still a teenager, or did it take some real world shit? That's an interesting question. So basically, when did my opinions start becoming. So, man, this is decades of research. I'm going to tell you guys. I'm not, if you're not where I'm at with your understanding of this stuff yet, or where some other people in these, we'll call it spaces, internet spaces, where they're at, understand decades of research really went into it. And also decades of mistakes. All right. I'm not somebody who sat here and was just awesome at, getting women to do whatever I want, when I was, as soon as I started becoming interested in girls. All right. It happened for me. It was a process. I was actually really bad with women and girls. I was like that blue pill alpha when I was young. And then I had a period, I won't go through my whole Batman origin here because I'm going to have to cut this off at some point. But I went through a period of doing really well with women, and all that. It was in college. It was a long time ago. About halfway through college, I went from terrible to really good. It was like a 180 flip. You know what it was, guys? That 180 flip, what was for me? Now, understand, though, I had a lot of what we would consider alpha behaviors to begin with. I was in competitive martial arts. I worked hard. I had a lot of alpha kind of behaviors and mindset already. I was in good shape. So my SMV as a young man, as your SMV, by the way, when you're a young man, we're talking 19, 20, 21 years old, is generally low. A man's SMV, that's the lowest you're going to have your SMV probably. You might look good, but honestly, I look better now than I did when I was 20 years old to women who are 20 years old. Okay. And so by that being said, what made me flip it around was I just simply started setting a standard for myself. And that standard was that I wasn't going to accept friend zone. It's an interesting thing, but all I did is say to myself, listen, I just noticed, I didn't know anything back then, but I just noticed, am I going to allow women in my men's community? No. I'm sorry, ladies. No. It's a problem. I'll get back to the origin story in a second. I just noticed Jerry's thing. Dude. Okay, that's a struggle, but here's the reason why. When a woman, I don't want to say invades, but we'll use the term invade, but I don't mean it like in a bad way. When a woman invade a male space, it changes the dynamic of that space. So if I want a space to advise men on how to do better, I need those men to be able to speak freely without changing what they're going to say or do or their behaviors, because a woman is involved in that community. So when I start a community, which is going to be soon, okay, it's going to be a pay to get into a community, not a whole bunch of money, hopefully, just but just something behind a bit of a paywall. And that's to keep out the riffraff, by the way, more than anything else. Keep out the douchebags, because I'm not going to have time to moderate for douchebaggery. But the value you'll get back is there'll be guys in that community who can help offer good advice in your situation. Not everybody can afford my consultation rates. I understand that. Those rates are going to go up. So I want to provide an outlet for you guys. And so I'm going to get a community at some point. I don't know that I'm going to use Facebook because of how censorship oriented they are right now, but I'll figure that part out. But Jerry had asked, when I start a community, am I going to allow women in it? For a men's community, it's going to be a men's community. I'm not going to allow women in it. And no offense, ladies, but here is why. Hear me out. It's just because it needs to be a space where men who don't have experience in the sexual marketplace the way that some others might, like, I'm not going to change necessarily what I'm saying because women are there, but guys will not feel free to speak or to say really what's on their mind. The social dynamic tends to change when a woman gets involved. That's okay in other environments, but it's not going to work if a guy is coming to a community to get advice and an understanding on their situation like that. They need to be able to speak freely without feeling like women are invading that space and maybe judging them for their opinions or, some of the stuff. Now, that being said, but I would like an outlet for women too. I need to find maybe at some point, that'll be much later, I can find a a chick, okay, who wants to manage a community, and maybe there can be something like that. I've thought about that because I have women that come to me for consultation, and they're on my stuff, and they're doing way better. And so those of you guys listening who are like, oh, dude, what the hell? What do you mean? What do you mean you're talking to women? Right? Look, dudes, you want to have good, better relationships with women, right? Wouldn't it be nice if more women actually gave a shit about showing up and didn't have a sense of entitlement and would work on themselves to be a better match for a dude? Like, wouldn't that be, is that what we want? So it stands to reason that offering that as an outlet would be good. Okay. I just need to figure out a way to do it because I want the female space to be a female space and the male space to be a male space. But then again, if I'm involved, I'm a male and now a female space. Is that okay? I don't know. So I don't know how yet to, and I'll get, ladies, throw me an email or, throw something in the comments of what you would suggest if you're interested in something like that. I don't know how successful it'd be. Not a lot of women aren't interested in hearing what a guy has to say about their sexual strategy. They should be interested, but not all of them are. So who knows, man? I don't know. But I do know that, again, it's going to be a men's community. It ain't going to be, we're not going to have women in that community. And so that's just what that is. All right. But yeah, back to a little bit of origin story, man. I just set a standard. I didn't have game. I didn't have anything. I just had alpha behavior. And I finally decided that I just noticed that a woman's social strategy was to sort of have a bunch of guys around that they were friends or acquaintances with. Most of those guys wanted to bang her. So she had to keep those guys at arm's length somehow in order to have these social relationships. Oftentimes she was using those guys for different things, like this guy fixes my car, this guy's the emotional tampon, and they may not have seen it like them using those guys, but we're talking, again, young girls, right, in my age category at the time, which are then 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, okay? And then they would have the one dude that they would bang. And the dude that they would bang was always an asshole that didn't do any of the things that all those other guys did. And so I just noticed, like, these guys are trying to earn her vagina and they're just in the friend zone. And then this guy who's just kind of an asshole and doesn't do any of that shit is the one she's having sex with. Well, guess what? I want to be the one that she's having sex with. If I'm interested in having something more than a friendship with a chick, then I'm not going to just accept this friendship. Either she's banging me or she doesn't get any of my other resources, time, or energy. So when I was in my early years, that was the only thing I figured out. Okay. And I went from being very blue-pilled and very white knighting, which is like the worst kind of blue-pilled alpha you could ever be, into finally setting a standard for myself and saying, you know what, if she doesn't want to date me or be with me and pursue something different, pursue something sexual with me, I'm not interested in having a relationship or offering my value or resources to her. That's not what I'm going to do. As soon as I set that standard, boom, that was it. I started getting laid. I started having women in my life. I started spinning plates. And so that was the sort of start of that journey. But it was up and down from that point. And what really skyrocketed it for me was I was in a marriage that wasn't good, and I couldn't figure that one out, and why that had turned so badly. And then I was in the military dealing with soldier issues, and soldiers were having problems with chicks everywhere, and soldiers were killing themselves over it. I mean, to be perfectly, blatantly honest or frank about it, soldiers were self-selecting, we'll call it. Over women. And PTSD, deployments, a lot of other things would play a role in that, but it was usually the bad relationship with a woman. That's what caused things to fall apart. And so these women would self-select, and then that was it, or women would the men would self-select, and then that was it. I'm going to a funeral. And so I didn't want to go to any more funerals if I could help it. And I wanted to figure out what was going on. And I also wanted to figure out what was going on with me. This was years ago, okay, why I was in this relationship that wasn't good. And And I started looking at stuff. I started looking at EvoPsych, and this is like 20 years ago. I started looking at evolutionary psychology and behavioral psychology, and it just built from there. So, Guy had asked, like, how do I come to this knowledge? Well, it's been a long journey of studying evolutionary psych, behavioral psych, conventional psychology, and figuring things out. And that's it. Let's see. Any more comments I want to address before I go? A lot of good convos happening in the thing. Thor, you're the man. Thor's an awesome guy, by the way. One of my favorite people over in John's community. Let's see. Okay. Well, don't worry. I'll get more organized with this. I don't even know there's something I have to do, like, for super chat. I don't even know. I'm so technologically disabled. I have to, there's something where you can send me a super chat, and then I see it above all the other chats, and I go, oh, let me answer your question. I haven't figured that one out yet. I'll get to it, though. I wonder if I got one more thing to announce. I'll have Sterling Cooper on 2 p.m. Thursday. So Sterling Cooper is a porn star extraordinaire, and I'm going to interview him. Dude, I got so many questions for him. And so I don't know if he's going to answer them all, because I don't want to screw him up in the porn industry. A lot of the girls in that industry are very, very liberal, and, they're very feminist, believe it or not. So I don't want him to put himself in a position where the girls would take it the wrong way and it would affect his career negatively. So we'll see what questions he has to answer about it. But man, there's so many questions I got for him, because his experience in the porn industry really does bring it brings a different perspective. It's a very unique perspective on all of this stuff. So anyway, Sterling Cooper, that'll be 2 p.m. Thursday. I'm doing my first live show with a guest, and we'll see how that goes. Because again, me managing technology, how many times will I accidentally hang up on Sterling in the middle of a live show? We'll see. All right. So that's my big announcement. Yeah, there's a study. That's interesting. There's a study showing how men perform worse when observed by women. Yeah, it's just, dude, it's in our nature. We can't help it. And so I hope women understand, my female listeners understand this. I'm not trying to I don't want to mix communities together. A woman's community, if there's enough demand for it, I only have about 10% women listening to my stuff. But if there's enough of a demand where women want a community to better themselves in the dating market, I'm happy to help with that. We'll figure out a structure, but I need at least, 50 to 100 women that want to do that. And so I know I have 50 to 100 men that'll start in a community, and then that'll build from there, right? That's what we want. We want a good diversity of opinions in there and a diversity of problems to solve in there. But I'm not going to start a women's community for 5 women, all right? Maybe, I don't know, but that would be something that would be more of a consultation call or group scenario. So, anyway, cool. Well, guys, I've already been going at it for 43 minutes. It's approaching 5 o'clock, and I need to go do some things. Got dinner plans for tonight. But thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for jumping on live, guys. If you got suggestions for me on things to do in the future, throw it in the comments. Not so much the chat, but comments. All right. But yeah, so again, Sterling Cooper, 2 o'clock Thursday. He's got a course out. I want to talk to you guys about that more. I'll be doing a video on shit tests too. So we look for that this week. I'll probably drop that on Wednesday, 2 o'clock Wednesday. So shit testing, because holiday shit tests are a thing. Women tend to want to shit test you more on the holidays. And there's a number of reasons for that. And there's usually a type of shit test that happens around the holidays. Yes, I know Christmas has already passed, so maybe it's a little bit late, but it'll be good for your future development and handling of women. So those are some things this week. And you guys got your marching orders and how to set goals and all that stuff. So thanks again for tuning in. All right, bros and chicks. See you guys later.